significant would you expect that? Do you personally expect a recession?
I am going to defer to my economists at this point, but I think probably that's a likely outcome.
Yeah. Because markets, I mean, when you see a 2,000 point decline, it sort of feeds on itself, doesn't it? Because it makes you feel like you're losing money in your 401k, you're losing money in your pension. You got to cut back.
Yeah. I always remind people markets aren't always right, but sometimes they are right. And I think this time they are right because they're just pricing in uncertainty at the macro level and uncertainty at the micro level, at the actual company level. And then how it affects consumer sentiment, it's hard to tell. You know, consumers still have jobs. Wages are going up at the low end, which I think is a good thing. But if companies start cutting back, yeah, the consumer sentiment changes and business sentiment changes. You know, I think you've already seen business sentiment change a little bit. Hopefully, you know, no one's wishing for that, but you know, hopefully if there is one, it'll be short. But I do think fixing these tariff issues and trade issues would be a good thing to do. That will get one major uncertainty behind us. We have the strongest economy in the world. It would be good not to add to the uncertainty out there.
Imagine the global economy as a high-performance engine. Right now, several warning lights are flashing on the dashboard, and one of the world's top financial mechanics, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JPMorgan Chase, is telling us we might be heading for trouble. Today, we're going to decode his warning about a potential bond market kerfuffle and explain what it means for your wallet, your job, and your future. Stay tuned to understand the complex interplay between bond markets, trade tensions, and regulatory policies that could impact your financial well-being. The global economy is currently navigating through turbulent waters. We're dealing with post-pandemic recovery challenges, persistent inflation, rising interest rate, and growing trade tensions. Look at our first diagram, bond market liquidity and market makers. This illustration shows us the engine room of the financial world, the bond market. In normal conditions, as you can see on the left side, banks act as market makers, standing between buyers and sellers to ensure smooth transactions. They're essentially the oil that keeps the financial engine running smoothly. However, as shown on the right side of this diagram, Jamie Dimon is concerned that post-2008 regulations might be preventing banks from performing this crucial function effectively. Notice how the market maker is crossed out, creating a barrier between buyers and sellers. This is what Dimon calls a potential kerfuffle, a disruption in the normally liquid and efficient treasury bond market. Now let's turn to our second diagram, tariffs and their economic impact. While Dimon didn't explicitly mention tariffs as the cause of potential bond market problems, they represent a significant contributing factor to the overall economic uncertainty. As you can see in the top portion of this diagram, tariffs create barriers between countries, adding costs to trade flows. Following the arrows in the middle section, we can trace how these tariffs set off a chain reaction. Imported goods become more expensive, leading to higher consumer prices and inflation, which forces the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates higher for longer. The bottom portion of the diagram reveals the broader consequences: supply chain disruptions, delayed business investments, increased geopolitical tensions, and heightened recession risks. All these factors create an environment where any shock to the financial system, like the bond market liquidity problem Dimon is warning about, could have amplified negative effects. Our third diagram, the interconnected economy, provides a bird's-eye view of how these various factors interact. Notice how financial system health sits at the center, surrounded by interconnected elements: banking regulations, tariffs and trade tensions, Federal Reserve policies, bond market liquidity, and impacts on average citizens. The dashed lines connecting these elements illustrate Dimon's fundamental point. In today's complex economy, problems in one area can quickly spread to others. The post-2008 banking regulations might be creating vulnerabilities in the bond market, but tariffs and trade tensions add fuel to the fire by increasing economic uncertainty and inflation pressures. At the bottom of this diagram, we see the ultimate concern. This combination of factors creates a risky environment that affects everyday costs, job security, and personal savings. For you, this means potential impact on mortgage rates, retirement accounts, employment stability, and purchasing power. So what does all this mean to the average person? When financial leaders like Dimon issue warnings about market mechanics, it's easy to think it doesn't affect your daily life. But as our diagrams show, these technical financial concerns connect directly to 1. Your cost of living through inflation pressures partly driven by tariffs. 2. Your ability to borrow to interest rates on mortgages, car loans, and credit cards. 3. Your job security to potential economic slowdowns. 4. Your investments through market volatility and uncertainty. If Dimon's concern materializes and there's disruption in the Treasury bond market, as shown in our first diagram, the Federal Reserve would likely step in to stabilize the situation. However, this intervention would have its own consequences for the broader economy and your personal finances. The warnings from financial leaders like Jamie Dimon remind us that the global economy is an interconnected system where technical issues in bond markets, trade policies, and banking regulations can have real impacts on our daily lives. By understanding these connections, as illustrated in our 3 diagrams, you can make more informed financial decisions and better prepare for potential economic challenges ahead. Economic literacy isn't just for Wall Street professionals. It's a crucial skill for everyone. The next time you hear terms like bond market liquidity or tariff impacts, remember our diagrams and how these factors connect to your financial well-being. If you found this explanation helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more clear, visual explanations of complex economic concepts. Share this video with friends or family members who might be confused by financial news. Helping others understand these important topics benefits everyone. In the comments below, let me know which economic concept you'd like me to break down next. Are you curious about quantitative tightening, central bank digital currencies, or something else entirely? Your questions help shape our future content. Until next time, keep learning, stay informed, and take control of your financial future.